Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretty Creepy. Today's episode is a bonus episode. Y'all know I post on Sundays, but I thought it would be fun to surprise y'all with bonus episodes every now and then. So today's episode idea comes from Vincent, and we're going to be reading creepy and real stories from people who experienced the crazy clowns in 2016. I've always lived in the middle of nowhere, so I never got to experience the clowns. I saw a lot of videos of them, and they were in the cities and I guess more populated areas. I don't think they'd want to come all the way out here to the middle of nowhere. If you don't know about the clowns from 2016, basically people started seeing creepy ass people dressed in clown costumes. And sometimes these clowns would chase people with weapons. This obviously caused many people to panic because, that's really weird and scary. Anyway, I went to Reddit and searched for people who shared their 2016 clown stories, and here's what I found. I had 2 clown sightings. First was pretty tame. I was being pretty closely tailed by a legit hearse. I didn't want to be part of some funeral procession, so I pulled over to let them pass. As they went past, I saw that there were 4 clowns with those creepy rubber clown masks sitting in the front of this hearse. One of them leaned out of the car window and brandished a Lucille-style baseball bat at me like they were trying to hit my car. Second time I was at my parents' house, and as I was leaving, I looked across the street and there was a clown standing under the streetlight staring at the house. I told my dad, who promptly grabbed my grandpa's old skeet shooting rifle that doesn't even work, and he doesn't have rounds for it anyway, and he went chasing out the house with it. The clown took one look at this crazy guy with a gun and a huge grin running at him, and he took off running, leaving one of his sneakers behind like Cinderella. I'm pretty sure that crap ended when people stopped being scared and started wielding bats and guns. Turns out that dressing up as a clown doesn't make you bulletproof. My friend's dad picked me up because I was going to their house for a sleepover. We're just chilling and his dad just says, "Look at this fucking idiot." And we just look out and see a fat clown with a bat. Luckily for us, it was a pretty tame encounter. I saw stuff about people getting pulled out of their car by those fuckers back then. Makes me shudder. He was just walking around and ignored us. Still weird though. I was working for a pizza place and had to do the cash drop from the night before. I drove to the bank and had to park further away than normal. As I walked up the sidewalk, I looked up and saw a fully dressed up clown with fake blood all over him, staring at me. He was the same distance from the door as I was on the opposite side, around 40 feet. As I started to walk to the door, the clown did as well. As I sped up, so did it. I thought for sure I was going to get mugged. As I ran inside, the bank remote locked the door to keep the clown from coming in. They called the police, and before they got there, the clown was gone. No one knew where he went. He just kind of walked away from the door and vanished. I know I wasn't going insane because the teller said they saw it, and they saw him approaching on the camera when they also saw me running. Never saw another clown in my area after that. My friend had an encounter with one. She thought it was only idiots trying to be edgy and weren't actually dangerous, so she didn't pay attention to the media. She was about to leave her gym one night, kind of late, and as she was about to open the glass doors, she spotted one clown at the edge of the parking lot. It was only a small lot, and her car wasn't that far away, but the guy spooked her. She was thinking about walking out when all of a sudden, the dude charged at the doors. She ran back inside to get help. When she got back out with the staff, the dude was gone. Staff escorted her to her car and apparently gave the security footage to the cops, but never heard anything back. She had a hard time going back to the gym for a while and switched to daylight hours. She still can't say whether it was an over-the-top and tasteless prank, or she ran across a creep who took advantage of the hysteria to actually try to hurt someone. This took place in Colorado, but I was driving back home from a 2 a.m. fast food run because I was really craving a burger and was playing video games all night. I had driven through this underpass that's not exactly a wooded area, but there are enough trees around that the lane around it feels more enclosed. And just as I reached where the curve begins, I spotted a mass of color ahead that seemed very out of place. It was off to the side of the road, behind the guardrails for that turn. As soon as the headlights of my car were aimed directly in the path of that weird color, and I was physically closer to it, I immediately recognized just exactly what it was, and before that initial shock registered for me, its head turned looking right at me as I drove past. It never took a step or did anything other than turn its head in my direction as I floored it the fuck out of that area. I had a clown try to get me at my car when I was leaving work. At this time, I was working for the zoo, and we just had our first Halloween event, Zoo Boo. I was able to be quick and lock my car doors, but the clown tried to get in my car, banging on the windshield, and tried to open the door with another clown. I was scared and hesitated for a bit, but I ended up calling my managers to get a hold of security to help and let them know what's going on in case it happened to other employees while also trying to drive away from the clowns. I was able to book it out of there without any damage, even though they still tried to scare me and stuff. Since then, the zoo has established extra security by hiring more security personnel and having the police on premises. In 2016, I was a senior in high school, driving home from my friend's house late one night, just before 11 p.m., my curfew. The road before you get to my neighborhood was a 2-lane road, trees on either side, no lights at all, and the speed limit was roughly 40 miles per hour. I'm driving down it, and a scarily dressed clown jumped out of the woods and maybe 2 feet into the road. I had to swerve, I screamed, and it indeed scared the absolute shit out of me. Coming home late and driving past the place where it happened afterwards always sketched me out too. 2016 was a horrible year for me, to say the least. I wouldn't say I was suicidal, but I definitely did not fear death in the slightest. I probably wouldn't have done this if I was sound of mind, or I would have called the police. My car was in the shop for a couple of days, so I had to walk home from work one day, about a 6-mile walk if I take roads, but only a 3-mile walk if I walked along the railroad tracks, which I opted to do at the time. As I passed a heavily wooded road, I noticed I was being followed by, you guessed it, a guy in a clown costume, holding something that I couldn't tell if it was a baseball bat or a machete. I started walking slower, and he slowly caught up to me. When he was about 50 feet behind me, I put my backpack down, instantly turned around, and started sprinting at him while screaming like an insane person. He screamed, ran away from me, and into the woods on the side. He didn't follow me after that. Moral of the story, act crazier than the person following you. I was chilling at a local park with some of my friends when I decided to walk through the park and trail to McDonald's. I had just gotten to the trail entrance when I heard rustling in the bushes on my left. Keep in mind it was about 9 p.m. and dark, and this type of thing didn't happen since I was there almost every day. Needless to say, I ran back to my friends and told them what happened. They were all pissed, and as a group we ran back to the bushes and started searching. We heard a quiet giggle and it confirmed my suspicions, so I yelled, "Come out, pussy." No response, but about 5 seconds later, a rusty razor blade comes flying out of the bushes and hit me in the chest. We were all spooked, so we ran off. Next day on the news, an elderly man got stabbed by a man dressed in a clown costume. I live in a small town in Canada, so this type of thing really shook my town. The man was never caught, so he's probably still out there. This didn't happen to me, but to someone I know. He went out to hang out with some of his friends. The cafe they were at had an alleyway on the right. Only beggars used it to sit there and sleep, and no one else. They decided to go in there and started to call out ghosts as a joke. After a while, when they were heading back, they felt someone walking behind them. One of the friends turned around and started yelling and running. All of the friends, without questioning him, started running as well. Turns out it was a guy in his 30s who had kidnapped a girl the week prior and was intending on killing my friends because it was fun. He was wearing a clown mask with a knife and 2 others tucked into his underwear. Don't know about my friend, but I would have shit my pants. Not me, but my neighbor. In 2016, my neighborhood had a handful of teenagers, and we all went to the local high school. After a football game during the whole killer clown thing, we ran into each other and all decided to drive home together except for one of my neighbors, who was waiting for her friend's boyfriend. Our area is pretty safe, and there was a ton of people around, especially parents, so we figured she was okay to wait for her friend and drove home. The next day, we found out from her mom that the boyfriend had been super late, not showing up until after the game had ended. While my neighbor and her friend were waiting by the doors to our school in the parking lot, a van full of guys in clown costumes had pulled up and started to just stare at them. They asked them who they were, what they were doing, etc., but no answer. A few of them had baseball bats and things like that. One of the guys got out of the van and grabbed my neighbor and tried to drag her into his van, but her friend smacked his hand hard enough that he let go, and they ran back to the field, where there was still a few parents and students around, and someone called the police for them. Nobody ever found out who the clown guys were. Okay, see, this is why the clown thing was so scary. They were jumping in front of people's cars in the middle of the night, stalking people, rolling up in vans and trying to pull people into their vans. Like, someone could have gotten seriously hurt over a silly little prank, if that's all it was. And some people did really get hurt. Like, that one guy in the alley was dressed up as a clown and had kidnapped a girl a week prior, and an old man was stabbed. I think a lot of those people who dressed up as clowns were just big babies trying to scare people. But what makes this really creepy is that it was the perfect opportunity for actual crazy people to dress up like clowns and either try to or successfully commit real crimes. People can't be trusted, so yeah, the weird clown prank of 2016 was creepy. If you had an experience with a creepy clown, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below if you have any stories. Give me a follow so you don't miss out on any creepy content. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, that's today's episode, my little bonus episode. I'll talk to y'all next time.